Dear colleagues, let's welcome Mr. H.O. Sonik, Member IRDA, Mr. Analjit Singh, Chairman, Max India Limited, Mr. Dennis Pedini, CEO, Asia Region, New York Life, and Mr. Anurup Tony Singh, CEO, Max New York Life. We are delighted with the gracious presence on this auspicious occasion. Your encouragement shall inspire us to achieve greater heights in the times to come. Once again, a very warm welcome.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
On behalf of Max New York Life, a very warm welcome. Ninth office. We are a fast-growing private life insurance company. We have now reached a strength of over 350 people on our employee roll and over 1,200 agents on our agent roll. And the results for us have been more than what we expected. And we are very encouraged with the success that we've seen, the strategies that we are pursuing. And we are really delighted to be here today to come in full force with full presence to inaugurate our ninth office, and to also have the chance to meet with all of you and to share with you how we plan to develop and build the company. So with a short brief welcome to both our employees and agents and to our visitors, I want to hand over the mic to Mr. Anuljit Singh to just share a few words and then invite Mr. Sonik to come and inaugurate our office.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, delighted to be here. For me, firstly, Chandigarh enjoys a very special place in my heart. I'll talk more about that this afternoon. But I think the important and most significant part of this morning right now is that we are very fortunate to have with us Mr. Sonik, who is member live from IRDA. I think it's relevant for you to know that in the process of deregulating in the Indian economy, this is one of very hand-picked industries which is getting privatized and deregulated. And the IRDA, under the stewardship of Mr. Rangachari, has played an incredible role. And I would like to put the accent on the word D rather than R, because truly their spirit is of developing the industry. And we'll be talking a little bit more about alignment this afternoon. And it's really very, very heartening. And I think a feather in the cap of this country, how nicely aligned we are, not only as partners and management and as a company, but right from the regulator down. Mr. Sonik himself has been with the LIC for more than 35 years. So he knows anything and everything there is to know about life insurance. Also told me in the car coming in that he handled general insurance for 4 or 5 years. So he has even a broader bandwidth understanding of the life insurance sector, and has played a special role as regards the pension segment also within LIC, and currently is one of 5 subcommittee members appointed by the Finance Ministry, who is doing a report on the pension industry and specifically for the pension schemes for the Government of India. And he was telling me that in approximately a year from now, there could be a window of opportunity in the pension area. So he has a very broad understanding of this sector and shares the vision of the chairman of IRDA and how beautifully together they are working hand in hand with industry in a very transparent, open, proactive style to bring the best of regulatory practices from all around the world to benefit our industry and therefore our company. So we enjoy a very special, very warm, very open, a very friendly relationship with the IRDA and Mr. Sonik, who of course is our first point of contact. So I'm really appreciative and grateful that you took a whole day out to come to Chandigarh and spend this day here. And we look forward to your continued support and guidance, of course, as we go forward with time. So with that, grateful welcome, and let's go in and do the honors. Morning, Manfrey, Pakantu.
All the photographers are in.
Yes, sir.
Video camera.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you get a good shot.
I think some more folks coming up. Nice, Mr. Pedini here, who is a part of our team and helped this company and project from its very inception, located back in Hong Kong, bringing to us everything that New York Life can offer from either the United States or from Asia. So he's flown here just for this day to be with us, as he did join us for all previous ATO Geo launches. So a very warm welcome to him as well. And with that, may I ask Mr. Sonic to bless this office, please.
So you can use it. It'll work. Like this. It looks more colorful in the photograph, sir. Thank you.
May I now ask Denny, because this has become sort of convention, who gives us our individual mementos of the ribbon. So where is it gone? Here we are.
We have been collecting pieces of ribbon.
Sir, this side. Yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Cutting it, yeah.
Cross, huh?
Thank you, man.
Paul, you have quite a collection, so we'll have to keep that one going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
पॉल को हिंदी सिखा दीजिए हमें थोड़ी अब थोड़ी पंजाबी भी सिखा
पंजाबी सिखाएंगे
Oh, ऐसे बड़ी जल्दी सीख जाएगा.
My collection.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Leadership.
Come, Jenny. Come. Come, sir. Come on.
Sorry, sir.
Good to see you.
Stop.
You know Mr. Paul Golgan? Congratulations to Dini and President for New York Inauguration. Mr. Sonic, member area. Our first customer, we'll be requesting you to hand over her policy to her today, sir. And Mr. Anurjit Singh. Like the life insurance industry, so it takes time to get.
Steadily.
Yes.
Wide वाली और करना
Recycling effective. It's a big bag of
चल
recycling effective. Your office, my friend. Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Happiness. Lots of good business. Lots of happy agents, happy customers, happy employees.
total member. Sorry.
Okay. Shobna, would you like to come in front? Thank you for coming this morning. And I want you to know that our idea and desire of having you here is not ceremonial but very serious. And it is serious because truly we believe that we are here for our customer and for people we want to get to know on a one-to-one basis with the company. So thank you for being our first customer. Thank you for coming here. And you will obviously play a very important role in the startup of this office and our business, and we look forward to a long relationship with you. So may I request Mr. Sonic to hand over the first policy for this geo. Would you like to say a few words? Tell us a little bit about how the process was working with our colleagues.
It's a professional company led to this opportunity. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Sir, may I take this privileged opportunity to ask you to address us, and would you like to go?
Yeah, I think we should go inside.
Yes. This is a very peculiar idea. There's this mezzanine level in the middle, and then there's this top floor here, and right across the city it's like that.
You have this floor or no?
No, and the,
entire
what you would
building.
call the mezzanine?
That's actually the first floor.
First floor. First floor.
We have these sales manager areas. This is where the sales managers actually sit. In fact, there are agents. We have a complete agent way on the side. You can see some of the lockers where all our agents. That's where we put all the policies that come in, any communication that we need to do with them. We interact with those folks as well. And of course, we have the routine rooms that we have where we meet for things. Again, a fully equipped facility. We can accommodate about 50 people in these two training rooms. And that's really the focus that we have in terms of developing the quality of people that we work with. So may I request you to please come?
Well, he's big.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Can we have everybody inside, please?
Yeah, we just get.
Okay, I'll just wait a minute so we get everybody in. Yeah, we want the Managing Director of Max New York Life Insurance Company. We are delighted to be here today. It's a great pleasure for me to honor a very strong and a very luminous delegation which has come all the way from as far off places as Hong Kong and New York to launch our Chandigarh operations. A very warm welcome to Mr. H.O. Sonik, member of the IRDA, a very close associate of Max New York Life Insurance Company, helped us a lot in getting us to where we are, and a great partnership in terms of working together to take the insurance industry to where it should be. A very warm welcome also to Mr. Anuljit Singh. Mr. Anuljit Singh is chairman for the Max Group of Companies, also chairman for Max New York Life Insurance Company, was also our first policyholder. And we at that time were so small that we didn't have any luminous person to give him a policy, so we did it ourselves. And one day we'll have to find an excuse to redo that on the renewal date, Anuljit, to give you a proper welcome when the company is really, at its full momentum. Mr. Dennis Bellini, President and CEO for New York Life in Asia, based in Hong Kong, who's here. Now an expert on India, so we can't fool him in the budget process any longer by sandbagging numbers by cities, because he knows them all. He's been to all the 9 cities and to some more in his spare time. Makes him, I think, amongst all the US expatriates that I have worked with, perhaps the only expert who's been to so many cities and knows India really inside out. So really delighted to have him with us. We also have Fiona Dupre from New York Life International from New York, here, Head of Communications and Marketing. I also have some colleagues from our Delhi office, Mr. Paul Colgan, who's the head of agency, who we have seen many times. I'm here, and Mr. Sunil Sharma, who is the Chief Operating Officer, and Mr. Mukesh Ramnani, who's our Regulatory and Compliance Officer. You better get to know him very well, because his job is to make sure he keeps you in line. And that's certainly one of the things that we want to do, is to be a company which has an absolutely first-class track record on compliance, and Mukesh said he's going to help us do that. So with that brief introduction, I'd like to now request Anuljit to come up to the stage, share a few words with you, and then invite Mr. Sonik to address us, because it's really a great opportunity for us to get Mr. Sonik to come and speak to you, and most importantly, give you an opportunity, particularly the agents, an opportunity to ask questions.
We were fortunate to get Mr. Rangachari to come and do the same for us in our Delhi Geo, which was very useful. We would request you to take full advantage of this opportunity, because Mr. Sonic has been very kind to spend the day with us and be here to really help us grow the industry. Thank you very much for listening to me, and over to Anand Singh.
Morning. Thank you, Tony, for the very nice introduction, and let me assure you that I'm not looking for any substitute other than the company itself to have given me the first policy. I'm delighted with that, and that enjoys a special place for me, so we'll leave it at that. Let me add my welcome to Mr. Sonic, who has come from Delhi, taken the whole day out to be with us today. Also, my partner and our friend and colleague from New York Life, Delhi Padini, who is back here from Hong Kong to join us for the launch of the 9th Geo, and all our other colleagues from Max New York Life and some from Max, and of course all of you who I will have a chance to talk to in some more detail this afternoon. I think right now we want to get the best out of Mr. Sonic's presence over here. In the short time that you folks have been associated with the insurance industry, I'm sure there are lots of questions or issues that you wish to talk about or express your views on. I think no better opportunity for you to do that. And also I may take that, pick up on that note to say that Mr. Sonic, while in his formal and official capacity as member life of the IRDA, takes special effort to put himself out to understand the viewpoint of industry. And I think that is absolutely a unique feature as far as this particular regulator is concerned. The experience in our country, unfortunately, up till now has not been that encouraging with regulatory aspects, because it has been predominantly a kind of like a one-way approach to addressing the sector. Mr. Sonic and chairman of IRDA, along with whom he works very, very closely, have a belief exactly the opposite. And it is really rather remarkable when we sit here today in August of 2001, and I go back, Tony, to the last 15, 18 months, where before startup, we were meeting members of IRDA and Mr. Sonic when he came last year, at which time we hadn't started, and we had concerns, we had questions, we had problems, and in a way we were trying to get those addressed, but we were also trying to figure out what is our life going to be like with the regulator. And assurances were made of openness, assurances were made of workshopping together, of transparency. At one point, the draft provisions of the bill were even posted on the internet. I mean, that's something completely unheard of in the context of this country. And that spirit and that goal of being open and transparent, we have now actually experienced after the startup of the industry. And we are delighted to have Mr. Sonic as member life, because he started off his career in 1964 with the life insurance company, and for over 35 years was immersed in the business of life insurance. So he has very deep experience in that particular sector. And as I said briefly downstairs, also had a brush with general insurance and has been very active in the pension segment as well, and now doing some work for the government of India to prepare some documentation and policy papers which will form the, if you will, the basis and the backbone of how the pensions industry may look like in the coming years and so on. So as a person with tremendous experience, great knowledge, great foresight, and a very open person to work with industry, to understand our problems and help us and play the role of D, which is the development part of what the authority does. And we really appreciate that, sir, because my experience has, I should say fortunately, been to be very deeply involved with the pharmaceutical industry, and there could, until prior to 1994, there could have been no more industry more regulated than the pharma industry, and then the telecom area. And I have to say, unfortunately, both experiences were very difficult, very, in a way, destructive, if I may be quite candid and blunt to use that word. And in that sense, when we work with you, and we have the ability to at least convey our viewpoint, and you are always forthcoming to ask for our viewpoint, talking to us, traveling around the world, meeting other life insurance companies and so on and so forth. It is truly a great pleasure and a breath of fresh air. So on that note, may I ask you to come and address us and share your views about the life insurance industry, where you think it is today, where do you think it's headed, a little bit, if you like, about Max New York Life, some thoughts you want to leave us with. I'm sure there'll be some questions that my colleagues would like to put to you, and we would like to benefit as you know from the opportunity you've given us to be here. So with that, once again, very welcome, and I'll ask you to come.
Mr. Ananjit Singh, Mr. Tony Singh, our distinguished guest of the day, Mr. Dennis from Hong Kong, and my other distinguished guests, officials and agents of the Max New York Life Company. I am very happy to be with you because whenever I come to Max New York Life office, I really feel very much happy, encouraged that they are going in the right direction. I was in their Delhi office that first day also, and then when we interacted with the company officials and we got the data as at 31st March, with the year which just recently ended, and also the data of the performance as done by Max New York Life Company, we really feel that the company has a great future. I'll just go into the details there. Now, life insurance industry, so far as India is concerned, is not a new thing. You know, things started long back. I would say, even when the East India Company came, I'm just giving you a brief background how things started. They came with their concept of some insurance because people at that time said that we don't want to go to India unless we have pension. So in fact, the pension concept was born earlier than this in India. So they came and then some sort of thing was done for them. In the same way as in the year 1869 or so, it was done elsewhere when this social insurance concept was talked about. So both these things actually were born at the same time. But the first company which came, that was in Calcutta, when this Oriental Life Insurance Company was born, and they had their insurance in different ways. The Europeans actually were insured because again the same thing was there that we need insurance. But then again there was a very different type of thing. I'm just giving the background. Neither I'm for it nor against it. They said that the Indian lives are to be considered as the substandard lives, so we'll charge extra premium. Then this Swadeshi movement came and all those things started. And then virtually only it was in 1923 and then another company in 1929 that they were born. So with that came the spate of those companies, and in 1956, when you go into the details there, we had about 245 insurance companies working in our country. But all were not the same way what we were developed now. The companies on our project pattern were hardly about 17. Others were provident companies, the societies, and others who were doing insurance in one way or the other. So in 1956, the nationalization took place. And the concept at that time, I'm just saying that cycle is getting complete. So when it was thought to nationalize in 1956, the motto was to take the message of life insurance to every hearth and home. That is what Mr. C.D. Deshmukh said. But I feel whenever I talk to my agents and my policy holders whosoever assemble there, I say that those words are true in today's context also. The message is again to take this message of insurance to every hearth and home. Now in a different way. The way is that we have been enjoying those things which a monolithic organization like Life Insurance Corporation of India did it. It was a monopoly. Monopoly actually suffers from so many infirmities. The customers do not get the best out of it. I'll spell out in more details. What do you really feel that you must get is not available to you. And the first thing which actually gets affected adversely is the right type of product. These are the advantages of competition. So the right type of product either was not available or was not sold according to the customer's needs. So this was one area which was thought of while doing this deregulation type of thing. The second aspect is the price. I get good product, but as a policy holder, I pay a heavy price for it. It is not worth doing it. That way, ordinary endowment policy, which I was selling earlier, was much better. As an agent, I'll just say that. Third thing is very important thing, the servicing, which should be more vibrant. Servicing, which should be felt in the heart of the policyholder, and servicing, which should be felt by the agent. I always call agent as a customer. You see, my association with the field of the life insurance is also very old, because I was working as branch manager, looking after the agents. Thereafter I was divisional manager. Earlier I was in charge of entire Haryana. I established this Karnal division in 1986. Then again I worked as regional manager marketing. Again my contact with the agents was there. Then as executive director, again I had to take the feedback from the agents. So from those meetings which I had attended in every part of the country, the feeling was that I am not getting the servicing which I deserve as a customer, as an agent. Also as a policy holder, my policy holders also do not get that type of thing. How to get it? So in information technology, LIC of India made some efforts, but they were not adequate. And the way the companies are shaping themselves now gives enough indication that the customer will definitely get much better servicing through these new companies. Now, as Mr. Anarjit Singh said, and rightly said, the job of insurance regulatory authority is not of regulation. That is why the word development was added later on in the legislation. So it became insurance regulatory and development authority. So how to develop the market? We were discussing when we were in the flight, we were discussing there are many ways to develop it, and the foremost thing and the most important thing is the feedback which we get from the agents first. The client's perception is shared by any company through the agency force, and I am very firm on it. You see, because you may be getting through your website some of the reactions from the public, policy holders, but those reactions or those responses will be very few. But the responses which you get through your agents definitely represent the opinion of the customers in a very big way. So any company which doesn't have regard for those responses, etc., will not really shape well. Not that I am addressing the agents and also employees. This is my view that wherever the views you have to take from the agents, they will be really more practical, and if they are practiced well in any society, in any company, in any business, wherever the distribution channels, intermediaries or whatever you call them. So if the company can maintain the contact with that distribution channel system, the success of the company is bound to be there. This is one area. Now what the agent should do? In the agency regulations which we have brought about, I'll be very brief because I'll like to spend more time in answering your questions later on. But I'm just placing some views before you so that you can ask questions on them. The agency regulations are in force. Now the code of conduct has also been prescribed now. Earlier it was not there, except the Life Insurance Corporation of India's Agents Rules 1972, which also have the statutory powers because they were notified by Government of India under the provisions of the Life Insurance Corporation Act. So they have also got the same statutory powers. Now the code of conduct has been prescribed, defined, specified. So what the agent should do, the first and the foremost part is, which I have felt during my career, that the truthful, mind my words sir, truthful disclosure to the proponent when he writes the proposal. I am again repeating, when he writes the proposal. Do not take the job of writing the proposal on behalf of the policyholder if he can himself complete the proposal. Though it may be a difficult thing for you, but you write it so that whatever answers are given, they should be very truthfully reflected in the answers in the proposal form. Second thing, you place the products, and again I would say, you are supposed to know, you can ask question on this, you are supposed to know the products of your competitors also. It's a very ticklish question. You will ask that why should I say anything about the other competitor's product or something when I am selling Max New York Life's product only. So my duty is to tell only the good things about the so and so, so and so. No. You just place before them that this is how this is. Of course, you can do it in your own way. The way it favors you better, you can do that also. But despite all these things, it should be a truthful presentation and a truthful reflection of the product there. Now, it will make things more complicated when you talk of the riders on the products. In any open market, the riders sometimes assume more importance, greater importance, but the policyholder does not know. Supposing you say in a developed world, or say in the US or UK, where things are well known to them, according to our thing, see, set of the country is like this, population of the country is big, illiteracy is one important aspect of our country. Society also has not developed that everybody knows everything of every product. No. So you must explain that these are the riders, I am collecting this much money, this percentage is going for this, and your policy will participate in the profits for this much particular amount, but do not guarantee any addition to any policyholder. Though the insurers also will take care of it. This is what we are providing in our regulations also. Do not guarantee, because what we have been hearing earlier in our insurance carrier, the agents have prescribed that yes, if you pay now 10,000 rupees, at the end of so and so it becomes 100,000. So it becomes so and so. How do you know that the interest rates will have the same pattern in all these years? How do you know that my margins will not increase because of inflation? Now, how do you know that my bonus rate has to be only at this particular rate, or whether I at all declare bonus in a particular year, or I have some other additions which I do not guarantee? This is very important area for the agents. And then the next aspect is the servicing to the claimants. Now, friends, we are coming out with another regulation, which is I think 17th or 18th in the series, that is protection of policyholders' interests. So there again we are prescribing as to what you should do. Now, one thing which will hit you, may or may not hit you, that the cooling off period is being provided in any policy contract. Supposing you have not given him a right type of product, the policyholder has got freedom to give it back to you within a period of 14 days, 15 days, say that I don't want this product. So this is very important what you are promising to do at that particular time, or what you have reflected in your product which you have offered to him. He should know what exactly is the advantage by taking that particular policy. So that also should add to your knowledge and the interpretation of your knowledge to the public through the product which you are offering to him. This is going to be a very important area. Second thing, as I said in the beginning, the proponent must be encouraged to write the proposal once he writes in Hindi or English, whatever language he uses, and you record those things there in his presence. Even if he doesn't understand the language in which the proposal is written, this can be written by a third party, but the explanation properly provided in the regulations, etc., must also be there. Again, that will take you to the first step, that the contents of the product are to be truthfully represented to the proponent. This is another area. And then the policyholder must be advised, because some of you may be very new. The policyholder must be advised about the nomination, about the assignment, the change of address, etc. if he has not nominated anybody in the beginning itself in the proposal form, so that while you are settling the claim, the company is settling the claim either on maturity or otherwise, or there is any dispute, those things can take care of those things. Now, another thing which is being provided is, if the company has undue delay in the settlement of claim, then there is a provision that the company has to pay the whole claim amount with some interest. This is just to encourage the public to be more in the favor of their thing so that this is expedient, and if they do not do, then the company has to pay for it. So then again, your help to the company as agents and as employees of the company will be of very great help, because I'm not saying that you can pay 10% interest, okay. It doesn't make any difference for a big company like so and so, but it gives a bad message. There are so many claims have been settled with late fee. And when the company is to be asked, and we are making some provision, that in the board meetings also quarterly, such type of statements must be placed before the board. So that Mr. Ranjit Singh as chairman must know as to my company has settled so many claims with late fee, what was the reason, what were those things, etc. In the whole process, the agent's role and the employee's role is to be very important. Now I'll give you a short brief about these companies which have been licensed. They are about 17 companies which have been already licensed, 10 companies on life side and 6 companies on general side. 4 companies, general insurance companies, are already in place. So 6 plus 4, 10 companies, and LIC plus 10, 11. And general insurance as reinsurance company has also been registered, GIC as reinsurance company. So that is 17th. And we have about 4 more applications on life side. 6 more will be received in another week's time or so. So the idea is that when you have 10 plus 4 plus 6, around 20 life insurance companies and around 12 to 13 general insurance companies, including your public sector companies, the competition has to be really well placed in the society, in the country, and there your role assumes a very great importance. Now, again, we had certain things in our mind to make things simpler for the industry. So we thought about bringing about an amendment in some of the Act provisions. So I hope it will be duly considered by the Parliament. So after getting the approval only, certain more things will be there in the marketplace. Then the regulations which have been brought about, as I said, include the agents regulations, include the investment regulations, and also another big regulation, good regulation, which we are working on is about the third-party administrators who will be of help to the public who are insured under the Mediclaim policies. You see, life in general, because some of you may work later on as a composite agent also in times to come. So when any person is admitted in the hospital, he is left to his own. And he doesn't know where to go, how to go, the amount he has to deposit, the claim will be settled in 3 months' time, etc. So idea is that these third-party administrators will be of help. But after that, amendment is approved by the Parliament. Whenever it is approved, there will be another thing, that is the birth of the corporate agents. Now, you as individual agents will again be, I am asking so that some questions can come and I can clarify those also, to remove misunderstanding also. Now, you will be in competition with the corporate agents also. Corporate agents are just like individual agents, but they work as corporates. Through their employees, they may be working, depending on the regulation norms, etc., and the approval from the Parliament. So they will be there. So when any competition is there in any country, it really gives birth to efficiency, better customer relationship, and better awareness of the products by the customers. So in that environment, you will definitely have a very good time as individual agents and also employees. Now, as Mr. Ranjit said in the beginning, the market had to be opened up because there was no choice. I am saying very plainly. Among all the nations there, as I was sharing with Mr. Dennis, we had only 4 countries left out earlier: India, Cuba, North Korea, and Myanmar. Other than these 4, all countries had opened up the insurance markets. So when you talk of the economy, And when you talk of the opening of the economy, which started in our country around 1991, so with these four countries remaining out of that reach, we could not imagine any economy in any country really to be of any worth unless the insurance sector is also opened. I will not go into statistics because this is any area in our country where only 20% of the insurable population has been touched so far. So when people inquire how many $1 billion or $1 trillion or something, I said I will not give reply. I give reply only like that 80% of the population is yet to be insured. Though the insurance of course is one commodity which cannot be purchased by everybody, but an insurance company has to provide for the products which may be meant in times to come to the public which is living even below poverty line. Now, social security insurance concept will also develop, as and when the companies develop, markets also develop, and this insurance also in the longer run, I tell you, is not in business of loss, no. When you collect it, when you correct the entire perception of the people, and those who are to be insured through your company, through other companies, they will need it. That is why that new concept has come, that the pension market also has to be opened up. Not that it is not opened up today, it is open. It is a part of section 211 of the Insurance Act even today. Life insurance business includes the pension business also. But what is being contemplated about is that according to the Way Committee Oasis report, the whole market has to be opened up for the unorganized people. And when you talk of the unorganized people, hardly 11% of the people have been touched. Insurance 20%, and for pension for the unorganized sector, it is organized as well as unorganized. 11% include the provident fund pays. So government employees getting the pension, others who are participating in the provident fund scheme and other schemes, whole group actually is only 11%. So
Doctor in a minute or so explain to you how we are in fact going to focus in this particular area. Max chose to be in the life insurance business as a part of a strategic decision or a paradigm shift to enter the services sector. So the first decision was not life insurance, the first decision was services sector. And then within the services sector, we said which businesses do we want to be in. Certain positions in certain industries were already occupied, and we look for opportunities in newer areas. So first we said we want to be in those industries where we can be a part of influencing and shaping industry trends and performance criteria. So we didn't want to be in already mature industries, and I don't regard insurance anywhere as being mature, although of course LIC is a monolithic company. We also wanted to be in businesses that could be built on a knowledge base, on enterprise, and a large and important and powerful human capital base of this country. So indeed, life insurance is a business built by people for people, and it certainly fits that criteria. We also wanted to be in a business where, which would be life enduring, and there is absolutely no question that this is a business of perpetuity. It is not in any way cyclical or seasonal or faddish, as is the case of some other industries. And these were some of the aspects behind Max's reasons to enter the life insurance business. And going back to what I was saying therefore earlier, that if you consider the fact that for us it has been a move to enter the services sector, number one, and number two, in that sense we are different to other Indian companies that have entered this business. We're also different in that ours is a pure life insurance play. So as far as Max is concerned, it will only be in the business of life insurance. And as Tony would have shared with you, and you've seen from some of the material given to you, that New York Life is actually the life insurance expert in the world, and certainly in the United States insurance segment. And it is that strength, and it is that experience of New York Life and the strength that we're trying to build in India that sort of gives us an opportunity to put a stake in the ground to say that our aspiration is to be the most admired life insurance company in India. And that brings, a host of practical, day-to-day, managerial aspects of starting a new business and running a business. For us, all that matters is life insurance. So we think life insurance, we build agents for life insurance, we train for life insurance, and we have no distraction whatsoever in this particular company in doing anything else. And I think I don't have to tell you who the other players are in the life insurance field, be they financial institutions and all the issues surrounding financial institutions today, or be they private companies who are interested in more than life insurance as far as the financial services sector is concerned. So I think that that's a very powerful position both for Max and for New York Life, and therefore Max New York Life. So what has Max done to ensure success in this business? Because we are also a multi-business enterprise, and we have had the experience and more often not met with success in being a strong execution company in India in a variety of businesses. And here too, we have used our experience of the past to bring the best. So first and foremost, we said we want the best partner. And we went looking for a partner internationally. And as I just said a few minutes ago, we think we actually got the best partner. I won't take away from Denny's presentation because he will share a little bit more about the achievements of New York Life as a company and the special features of New York Life as a life insurance company and where they stand in a relative rating around the world and in the United States. So first and foremost, we got ourselves a very, very powerful partner. A large company, a very reputed company, a very respected company, obviously a very financially strong company, and as I heard Tony say as I came in, a company that's been in the business almost 150, 160 years, and you really couldn't ask for more. Very important, and obviously, eventually the difference between success and failure is the execution team and the management team. And once again, this goes back to our focus on being a pure life insurance play, and we have under the leadership of Tony and Sunil and all our other colleagues in Max New York Life who we cherry-picked to a large extent from the financial services industry, but were also to an important level, people with great amount of distribution and marketing capability to build practically the best life insurance team there is. Thirdly, capital, because this is a capital-intensive business for investment into Max New York Life. And I think, Tony, you have already shared that the company is capitalized at 200 crores, and that would make our contribution of 74%, somewhere around 150 crores. So I believe that the combination of these three aspects of building a business, which has already been proven in the last 3 months, is that correct?
Yeah, over 80.
Over 80% of LIC's business in the past has been sold just in the month of March. So that clearly tells you that the way they are going about selling life insurance is on an investment or a tax saving platform and not on a protection platform. And tax saving and investment is not life insurance, because there are many other options you have of investment products. There are many other and better ways of tax optimizing your tax liability. But we're going out and selling insurance on the platform of protection, and that's in essence really what life insurance is, with a host of very, very customer-friendly practices that we intend to bring to the marketplace, which I think will be treated and sort of very, very readily found ready acceptance in our country. And it's not unusual, like we've seen in other deregulating industries. The airline is a very good example. You've had a win-win-win situation all around. Customers are happier. In other words, the passengers, the companies that are operating it find themselves in a good business proposition, and obviously the country is better for it because the amount of convenience and the amount of, if you will, facility and upswing it has seen and brought to India's business and economic world is actually quite remarkable. And we've seen that happen in telecom and so on and so forth. So there is a whole carefully considered strategy with which we started out on day one as to why we wanted to be in this segment, how we would make ourselves unique and distinct in building our life insurance business, and all the efforts that we have made. Tony talked about them, about the execution challenge of starting 9 offices in the country in a matter of 6 or 7 months, with almost 1,400 to 1,500 agents, 300 employees, all trained. I trust you shared with them, and we would like that any time you have an opportunity to go to our general office in Chandigarh. It looks pretty much like all the other 8 offices, where roughly 1,900 square feet or 5,000 square feet of space are training rooms. So there are 2 trainers in each office. So if we have 9 offices operating today, there are 18 trainers plus the few under Paul in our home office in Delhi. So it kind of tells you that the real commitment that the company has to training, and it's just not sort of a rhetorical feature of doing business that unfortunately people refer to. So for us it is serious business as far as training is concerned. So Hong Kong, Delhi has been the head of Asia for more than 10 years. He champions a council of life insurance companies based out of Hong Kong, and therefore has been the unanimous pick of 40 life insurance companies in a small country like Hong Kong of 6 million people. So a person who's been immersed in this industry over the years, and we have already benefited hugely from his experience and inputs and his personal advice. He has been with us for all the other launches in the other 8 cities. So that tells you a little bit about the commitment of New York Life. For some of them, the chairman.
I know you're anxious to get on with some of the questions you have, so I won't be terribly redundant with a lot of the information that you already have in front of you, but there are a few things about New York Life that I would like to highlight. And the way I'll do it is in sort of a top-down manner, working from our ultimate parent company to what we're doing here and why we're here in India. New York Life, as you know, is a very large US-based life insurance company and a leader in the domestic US market. We are ranked number 87 in the Fortune 500. It's just a number may not mean much, and perhaps to make it come alive a little bit, I'll tell you that a few numbers ahead of us at number 84, I believe it is Microsoft, and a few numbers behind us at number 95 is Coca-Cola. So just to let you know, we think we're in a pretty good neighborhood in the Fortune 500, and we intend to stay there and actually move up the line over time. There's another list that Fortune magazine puts out that we're even more proud of, however, and that is the list of most admired companies. And when you go into the insurance section of the world's and the US most admired companies, you find New York Life always at or near the top of that list. And Morgan Asset Management, San Francisco-based asset management company. So that's left us up quite a bit in the assets under management ranking. $21 billion US in revenue last year, and $1.2 billion in net income, or profit. But the number that excites me the most is that when we look at the annual report, we find that over 30% of the new life insurance sales came from the international part of the operation. And since we are so new, relatively speaking, to the international world, that impresses us quite a bit. So let's now move to New York Life International. First of all, why international? We spent 145 years or so, 150 years building ourselves up in the U.S. To be a leader, and doing quite well in the U.S. But the company faced a situation not that long ago, about 10 or 11 years ago, of having to decide whether the growth potential in the U.S. for the business that we were in, the focus we were placing on life insurance, whether that growth potential was sufficient to satisfy any enterprise's need for growth. No company can stay still. They're either going to have to grow or they're going to shrink.
And able to provide a very high and professional level of advice to the customers. We believe in training our agents not only to the minimum requirements of the law, but to the exacting standards of delivery that we have set for ourselves in the marketplace. We would like our agents to be 100% dedicated to Max New York Life. We want them to be 100% dedicated to the life insurance industry. So we are very possessive of that relationship, and therefore we run it on a very, I would say, a very intense relationship between us providing all the support that they need to be successful,
and us in return demanding all their time and energy for them to be successful. We have a code of conduct within the organization, which is very carefully administered by our compliance officers. So we don't look at only a regulatory compliance, we look at also a behavioral compliance. And therefore, the agent, for us is an extremely important asset and a human capital, that we certainly cherish and continue to build on. At this point of time, as I mentioned in my presentation, we have the best proposition for our agents. If you want to become a life insurance agent, if you believe in the cause of insurance, if you believe in the opportunity, if you believe you have the selling skills and the professional capabilities, I think we provide the best opportunity for those people to come and be part of a success story at Max New York Life. Category, but we want to occupy the high ground on life insurance and being the specialist in life insurance. So here are hoardings, airport signage. The airport looks very, very nice. This morning when we came, really impressed by the outdoors that were there, and the little brigade that we had with the banners. Everybody in town was watching us. That again shows the power of decentralizing outdoor marketing to the business units. And I think Chandigarh is tapping around the roundabouts or whatever, to keep the message going in the city. You've already been trained, all our agents have already been trained on our products, so I'm not going to spend too much time on our products, but I think the message here is that all of you must make an effort to understand all the products that our company sells. So irrespective where you work in, that you see here in yellow are some of the competitive strengths that we have. We covered lives from anywhere between 91 days to 100 years. We have a very wide range of products, starting from 100, as cheap as 100 rupees for 10,000 rupee cover. And we can do large policies. We're getting a lot of crore plus policies. Up to a crore, this system is pretty templated. Beyond a crore, it's a customized solution. But we're doing all that business as we speak. We allow our customers to be able to do the business with us and know what is the status of their life insurance policy with the company. We have 7 riders, and 2 of these riders, the guaranteed insurability option and the op rider, are unique in the marketplace, and they can be used very effectively to preserve insurability, and the op rider can be used to increase coverage on a need or ability to pay basis. We have a personal accident benefit rider, a spouse rider, a term rider, and a waiver of premiums rider, and a dread disease rider, which covers the 10 most important or the most common diseases in the country. Products that are in the pipeline are a convertible term rider, a children's product, and a payoff benefit rider. These are currently being worked on. We have had from our agents of what they think about our products, also from customers. We've done some focus group and research in that area. Plus, we have done a competitive scan to see what our competitors are offering, and we have done a regional scan to see what are the best products that are working in the region for New York Life International, and make sure that our 5x7 products that we've launched in the marketplace, the 5 products and 7 riders, the initial suite, that we perfect that suite first, and then very quickly offer a couple of more products that the market is very hungry for, which will help us continue to provide more products to the agents so they can continue to ramp up their sales. We have done an assessment. We are very, very particular about ensuring that our products are competitive in the marketplace. So we do a lot of benchmarking and a lot of detailed benchmarking. And this is one such example of our benchmarking exercise. This has all our competitors on one axis and all the features against which we are competing in the marketplace on the other axis. And as you can see that, the sticks and crosses tells us, are we competitively superior or inferior to our competition on that particular item. So you can see that for all our existing products, we've got 26 sticks. We have new industry, new business, new agents, new employees, and it takes time for people to come up to speed and understand what these products are and how to sell them, how to answer Q&As, and how to memorize the FAQs, and so on and so forth. So we don't want to dump too many products on day one. Our approach is to find out the most important products, get them going, perfect the gaps if any, then slowly introduce the other winner products as we research them and test them in the marketplace. 7 products and riders offer a hell of a lot of flexibility for the agents to come up with a really good product which the customer truly needs. We help manage risk because we've been in this business for 156 years, and we specialize in need-based selling, and our entire focus is to produce the best quality agents who actually are motivated to sell based on customer need and do a really good job in terms of lifelong customer service of all the customers that we put onto our books. We are a significant player in the life insurance business because we've got a national commitment. We are now in 9 cities. We're calling it the completion of phase 1 of our launch strategy, and we complete phase 1 as of today. We have launched in 9 cities, and now we'll address phase 2 as part of the annual business plan that we are currently working on. My feeling is that we'll go to some more cities, but we'll go for a much greater. And we have also taken a decision that we want to make sure that we remain financially strong. An insurance company, a good insurance company, is one that's around to pay the claims when the claims do happen, and we know the claims will always happen. It's a question of time, and therefore we have taken the view that we will put all our investment into safe investments, which continue to be debt funds at this point of time and government securities, and we will not participate in the equity market, which has taken a big tumble particularly recently, and therefore to be safe and to be there when our customers needs us is a guiding principle that will continue to impact our safe investment policy. We have a long-term partnership with all our stakeholders. We believe that's our formula for success. We have 6 stakeholders, as you know. With customers, we want to provide them with customized products, need-based selling. The free look option is an example of that, and personalized life insurance plan or the illustration are all examples of providing a value proposition to our customers which is superior than others in the marketplace. With our agents, we want to provide them with a 100% value proposition, as I call it. That means for the best agents, there won't be a better deal in town than Max New York Life. And we want to provide them with career options for those agents who want to go into management over a longer period of time. We would like to look at that opportunity and train up them, for
experience, certainly for this part of the country. And the reason why I thought that we should put this template up here while we, for an hour or so that we have to be together, is that if you will carefully see this again and again, the opportunity for people to really be, to create a business for yourself without having to invest on your own, because every backup, support, training, capital, methodology, technology, systems, etc., all the ingredients that go into doing a successful business are provided for you by the company. So if you view these two together, and I'm sure a lot of you have had a very good experience working with other companies, but I think that you will find this truly to be a great opportunity and advantage in your careers as you have embarked on with Max New York Life. I want to share a little bit about the background of Max India's entry into the life insurance business. Some of you may be familiar with the company, others not. But if you aren't thinking about it, I think it's a good question to ask as to outstanding performance by all our colleagues in the 8 locations that we have. And I think that that provides you with a foundation to go forward. And it tells you that what we are talking about is no longer aspirational, or what we're talking about is no longer conceptual and so on and so forth, but the strategy and the thinking behind it, as the rubber starts hitting the road, is beginning to stick. The strategy works, the delivery works, and so on and so forth. So I think you have a great advantage over the other startups that we had during the month of April. Let me come quickly to what made Max to pursue this opportunity. First and foremost, the company in 1998 got an opportunity to sort of relook at its life and consider what it had done in the past and what it wants to do in the future. And clearly, the thinking went out to say that as the country was moving forward and we had a lot of reform taking place, there was a great opportunity in the services sector, and we decided to make a paradigm shift out of manufacturing and to concentrate more on the services sector. Why? Because it gave us an opportunity to achieve a vision which we have to become the most admired service excellence company in India. It gave us an opportunity in some select areas of the service business where we can shape industry trends. So in some of the traditional businesses, the businesses are well set, and there's not much room for creativity, innovativeness, and try to inspire a company to achieve service standards or standards of service excellence benchmarked with international standards. But there were certain sectors in which, or certain areas in the service sector where this was clearly a possibility. Secondly, we also said, looking at an obvious sort of a competitive advantage analysis, what presents real opportunities in India? So is available, and how we can apply that to new business areas to create an opportunity. And therefore, we came to picking up our 3 new businesses, which were health insurance, healthcare, life insurance, and some parts of IT services. For Max, which was actually a Delhi-based company, but with no business in Delhi and businesses all around the country, we also sort of took a geographic view of these 3 new businesses, and we said, okay, our healthcare business will be our local forte, as also life insurance, because in practice we are Delhi-based, and obviously Delhi being the large city it is, a large complement of Max New York Life will operate in Delhi. And then we said the national flag of our company could be Max New York Life and the life insurance business. And as far as an international opportunity is concerned, there were 2 parts. One, a newly created clinical studies business in the area of clinical research, and I won't get into any detail about that, but possibly when we meet in the future, if any of you are interested, I'd be happy to talk about it. And somewhere internationally, we also said that if we can pull off being the number 1 or 2 insurance company in India, and certainly be the most admired life insurance company in India, then from an international perspective, I think we should be certainly a part of a case study somewhere, even internationally. So that's a sort of goal and aspiration that went out to be in this business. So it's just not another business, if you will, country which is not sensitive to government policy and so on and so forth, but which is a business made by people for people, and therefore can, because of its enduringness, if you will, and the size of it, which it will become with the goal that Tony's put up over here, can become robust enough to be less sensitive. And so the decision came to these new businesses that I talked about, and in particular, life insurance. So with that, or on the back of that, was born Max New York Life. Now, if you think about Max New York Life as a company, I'd like to leave you with some thoughts. If you look at other life insurance companies that have already entered and are in the fray of coming in, you find there are typically 2 types of companies. One, the obvious large financial institutions, the large financial services companies, the obvious names, I don't have to tell you about them. And the second, you find the usual sort of large houses, multi-business
largest private companies, large houses of India, that are in practically every and any business there is to be in. They're back in the life insurance business. But as far as, so for them, for the financial services and financial institution companies, it was a natural. We have to get into life insurance. For the private companies, it was, oh, good opportunity, sunrise industry, as Tony has presented, so let's invest and start a new life insurance company. But for us, as I said, it was a considered strategic decision coming from entering the services sector, and then through the services sector window, a life insurance business. And so we said our focus would be in life insurance. And what did we do? We said we want to go out and pick the strongest partner, a partner with great repute, a partner with great reputation, a partner that is financially strong, and as God willed, we ended up with the exclusive life insurance company, and indeed the leader in the world, and certainly in the United States as far as life insurance business is concerned, which is New York Life. And for those of you who don't know, and Denny will talk a little bit about it, New York Life is only in the life insurance business. It is not in health insurance or general property insurance. And I thought that no life insurance company was also in general business, but I found that LIC for 14 years was also in the general business. So just because the company is called New York Life, it doesn't only mean that. But for your understanding, you should know that New York Life is only in the life insurance business. We wanted to be only in the life insurance business. So that vision too aligned beautifully. So in a way, that tells you, and I think Tony very rightly said, that when we talk about the alignment aspect of partners and management and team, and when we talk about the alignment between the vision of the partners, when we talk,
I notice a correlation between how loud people respond to that and how well they do a few months later on production. So, give them a chance. Yeah? So far, the loudest was Ahmedabad and see their production. One more chance. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. They're going to be your leaders in November, no doubt about it. Really is great to be here, and I'm going to start with a confession. I was thinking back, you talked about the 8 cities. It was about 3 months ago that I'd arrived in Delhi for the first opening, first of our 8 offices. And I have a delicate stomach. I'm not sure I could handle all this new food. A little bit apprehensive. By the time I finished, we left Bangalore, I not only survived, I thought it was one of the greater experiences of my life. It was just so tremendous. Everyone was so enthused, your colleagues around the country, that it was infectious. I just felt great. I was sad to see it end. I wish we had 3 or 4 or 5 more places to go to. So on that note, I'm very appreciative of Chandigarh and the opportunity to once again go out among all these new agents, people that, again, like the rest of your colleagues, are so enthused, are getting ready at the start of a great career with a great company. And it just makes me feel good. This is where the action is. It's not back in my home office in New York. It's not back in Hong Kong. We're the overhead people. We're there to help out now and then. This is where the action is. This is our business. You are our business. So let me start by just congratulating you for choosing well.
Thank you.
You chose well when you decided, I'm going to join the insurance industry. It's a great industry. You can do well while you're doing good. You're doing something very good. You're providing some very basic need. It's a private sector response to a basic social need, providing protection for people. I think you also chose well when you chose agency. You could have been an underwriter. You could have worked in a home office of an insurance company. They're all very, very good jobs. But there's something special about that agency job. There's something special about a job where the only limit on how well you can do is the limit you place on yourself. Because there really are no limits. You're an independent business person, and you can prosper to unlimited degrees. I think we were fortunate in a few other places to have some people from our U.S. New York Life operation, the Indian Ethnic Marketing Unit, Jane Patel, who came out here and talked to some of our agents in some places. And I'm sure people like that will be able to come here and share some of their experiences. But they also, he was also able to share a little bit about the kind of money he made. And at his level, I think he's probably making about $1 million US a year marketing and selling life insurance in the US. And it's a long way from where he started in Gujarat to how well he's doing in the US, but just gives people a sense of, wow, and not doing anything but doing good things for people and helping them protect their family and protect their wealth and protect their assets. So you can do well by doing good. And lastly, I think you chose well because you chose a great company. Max New York Life is a company that's going to succeed. So you're aligned with a winner. So congratulations for all of that. Let me tell you a little bit about New York Life.
Outright, at any competitive forum, having studied LIC also, I've been an agent with LIC for a while, and I know that our software is one of the greatest ones produced insofar as insurance is concerned. But people, when they want survival benefits, for that, the most important weapon that we have got is the OPP. Whereas OPP, we are not starting before 20 years, and we are ending it at 45 years. Whereas to generate profits, to generate the compound bonuses and so on and so forth, OPP is very essential. So in this connection, sir, may I request whether OPP can A, be introduced earlier from the age of 2 or 3, as in the case of endowment policies existing with LIC. Because most of Indians, most of the people that I have met during my last 15-20 sort of days, they want profits for the children when they are about to start in life, their higher education, their marriage, their settlement in life. So they want money. In our case, when we take a whole life policy, we don't give them anything except the majority benefit, which is 1/3 or maybe less than that of whatever the money has been paid.
We seized on the issue that you brought to the table. I'd like Paul to be able to answer your question, but I'd like to make the point separately that in the slides that I presented, there is a product that we are specifically engineering for children to exactly address the kind of needs you have.
Two things, just so they're not going to let us go below 10 right now, but instead of 2045, it's 1055. Thank you.
That's an example of the quick turnaround that our company has been able to make on these products based on feedbacks that we got from agents in Bombay and Calcutta and Delhi when we launched the company.
So really building your personal credibility with in this part of relationship building is so critically important. Secondly, I think we have a tremendous story to tell versus some other companies because of the heritage. We have been around for if you look to the New York Life part, 156 years. We have never failed to pay on a promise in 156 years. We have never left the countries in Asia that we've entered since we began this emerging market strategy. And we never, it would not be our intention to leave unless something were to happen, like a nationalization of some kind. But the other plus we have, other than the financial strength and keeping the promise and the history and so forth, is being a mutual company. And let me play with that for a second. There's a lot of people who get upset as policyholders or as partners to say that, gee, I've been over here with this partner for so long, and then they were purchased. Prudential UK bought American General, ING bought Aetna, and all of a sudden partnerships are changed, and shareholders are getting calls saying, well, it's a new owner. That shakes them up a bit. And I can go on and give you a lot of examples of AXA buying National Mutual, and I could probably tick off about 10 of them if you're interested. And that's been upsetting to customers. With a mutual company, we can't be bought. We're not owned. Our parent company is not owned by stockholders. There is no such thing as a hostile takeover. There's no such thing as some management back in New York who says, well, I can make a huge amount of money on my stock options by by doing something here. We're owned by the policyholders. As a result of being owned, at least the parent, even though we have stock companies, subsidiaries to the parent company sits there and says, the number one worry I have is my policyholders. It's the policyholders I'm responsible for. So it's the dividends to the policyholders I worry about. New York Life paid about $1.3 billion US last year in bonuses and dividends to its policyholders. They're number one. Will you get objections? Certainly. Will the objections in some cases be to the extent where the person may say, well, no, I just feel comfortable with LIC. I think, but we've got a AAA rated international rating. I'm not sure what LIC's international rating would be, but I think you have a powerful story to tell. You can assert yourself, establish your own credibility, then all the facts are there, and the company is going to be better and better about how to help you tell that story, give you more and more information. I think it's an objection we can successfully overcome, even a little bit better than some of the other stock-owned companies who can never be sure that they'll be operating under the same name a year from now.
Let me add to that. Openness, transparency, and service excellence creates trust. So it's a famous chicken and egg kind of a question. I'll give you an example of Jet Airways. When Jet Airways started, okay,
it has calculated for this computerized illustration.
May I suggest, you're going to be in the session tomorrow, right?
Sir.
Why don't you leave that for Paul to handle? He's the expert.
Right.
And today, if there are issues that are more sort of
Company-wide.
we can take those.
Product issues you can take with Paul tomorrow.
If you don't mind, yeah?
No, that's fine.
Only in the interest of time.
Any questions about the company, the vision, the partnership?
Sir, it is believed that our license for the bank's New York Life is for 1 year. Am I right, sir?
No, I can explain that. We have got a license, which is a perpetual license. We have to pay a fee every year to the regulators, and as part of the fee is automatically renewed on the payment of fee. So it's common for all the private life insurance companies. There's nothing special for us versus anybody else, but there's an annual fee collection exercise that happens, which the IRDA calls as a renewal.
That is understandable, but this is not renewed after 1 year.
You can imagine the kind of problem that you create for the regulators.
So we must be very sure.
Yeah,
when
very
we
sure.
go to the marketplace.
We specifically asked Mr. Rangachari that question, and just to make sure that he also is saying the same thing, he confirmed to us it's certainly, it's issued in perpetuity. So there's really no issue there.
There's no issue. If you've been following the telecom story, licenses were issued for an initial period of 10 years. And as you know, there are lots of dues by private companies to DOT and so on and so forth. So that's the sort of a lever they use. That if you have not fulfilled all your dues, then they get an opportunity to say, fine, if you don't pay up, we will not renew your license. So it's one of those sorts of things. Don't worry about it.
The rules of the game now.
Max doesn't carry that license, or Max don't want to continue with this company, say after 5 or 10 years. What will happen to the investor, and what is the role of New York Life in this? And if anything with the company from IRDA in black or white for this credibility, kindly please just send us the material.
Send you
that material in black and white, something about credibility from IRDA.
Okay, I think I can help answer this question in 2 or 3 different ways. Will be, I don't think the existing shareholders would like to disinvest. Simple as that, because nobody wants to disinvest out of a successful company. So I think it's up to us to make sure that this company is a successful company. Because if you're successful, you can attract capital. If you're not successful, you invite trouble, right? And the entire formula for success is up to us. Secondly, I think both the partners are totally aware that this is a long gestation time business, that it takes 7 years to become profitable, primarily because the more successful you are, the more capital you consume, and the whole business model is such in the insurance industry that it takes time for it to become profitable. Thirdly, our initial track record
of the 11 months that we have spent in developing this business is indicating that we are doing better than any of our projections that we had made earlier, both on the revenue side and on the expense side. So I personally feel that if we build a good business, I can very easily sell more investment opportunities to both Max and New York Life. And I would like to get to a stage that we build such a good business that actually they're competing amongst themselves to be able to invest in our business. Yeah. I'd like to also add that the joint venture partnership is an excellent partnership. It's a publicly agreed principle in the joint venture relationship that as and when the laws will change, New York Life share will go up to 50-50, at that point of time. And therefore, I think there's already a self-governance system into place which will continue to ensure that this company is fully supported by its parents.
Be quite frank. Are you guided by the Hutchison Max disinvestment result? Okay, so let's put it on the table. Okay. Now.
So good luck to all of you, and thank you for being here, and thank you very much.
Let's just put one exit. Is it that? Is it this?
There's only one exit. Please close that.
Just block that exit. Go बंद कर दीजिए.
I took a walk around the block, to see the house.
Good to be in Chandigarh.
Yeah, it's lovely.
You as good as any other.
Hi.
They tried to plan a little bit of daring, and then it got totally out of hand. Hello, how are you?
My pleasure. Join this election Europe life.
What's your name?
I'm
Dylan.
I was working in State.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I
Oh, yeah. Very good indeed. Wish you all the best. Yes, good.
quite encouraging.
Hello. You also joined us from a bank? Or?
No. One thing has been my forte.
Is it very programs in RBI? Yes, Sir, I want to.
And then a couple weeks later, we had a big party for the agents. And boy, that was a small night.
They are having cake, you are
For our family get-together, as we call it. The purpose of this get-together is for everybody to get to know everybody, particularly since we're launching a new company, and to get the teamwork going, as I would say, so that we can all be very successful in the marketplace since the meter, as we call it, starts ticking from tomorrow morning onwards, since we officially launched today. Yeah. I thought we'd spend the time on a few things this evening very quickly. Before the drinks get too far down the low, and after that, we leave you to enjoy the evening. But I thought I'd spend just a little time on a couple of things. Firstly, I just wanted to introduce myself to you a little bit more, and to share with you, a few things about myself, so that you know who I am, and what are the kind of things that I am trying to do in the organization. In any organization, everybody really wants to know who the managing director is, and what's his profile, and so on and so forth. So instead of me trying to answer that question individually in bits and pieces, I thought I'll give you the Tony Singh rundown, so you get to know me. Secondly, I want to give you a little bit more time in terms of being able to ask the questions that you're not able to answer in the town hall meeting today. And thirdly, we would like to recognize some people who've done some outstanding sales numbers in the short time that we have been in business in Chandigarh. So back to the first item. As I said that I'm your managing director, and that means I carry the responsibility for making Max New York Life a very successful company in India. In terms of my background, basically I'm a chartered accountant who got into the business side at a very young age. My passion was to be an entrepreneur, businessman, and so once I qualified as a chartered accountant, I moved into general management at a very young age. My first employer was A.F. Ferguson. Some of you may have known that name. I did my articles with Ferguson's. Before that, schooled at the Doon School in Dehradun, and went to college at the Delhi University at Sri Ram College of Commerce, and then went to Ferguson's to do my chartered accountancy, and then worked with Ferguson's for a couple of years as a management consultant, and then I went and actually worked in the Middle East, in Dubai, with Ernst & Young, which was one of the top 5 accounting firms in the world, as a consultant there. I spent 2 years there, and I got headhunted back by Ferguson, who was also in the recruitment businesses, and who got me a job with American Express. And I joined American Express as the Chief Financial Officer in their TRS business in India. And between the time I accepted the job and between the time I landed up to work at American Express, remember Delhi, it was the Hindustan Times building fire which happened in 1980. So on my first day in my office, I was faced with a great adversity, and I said, my God, I didn't bargain for this, And my job was to restore customer service levels immediately, make sure that all our customers, who were basically a whole lot of merchants who were selling, who were accepting American Express cards, and banks who were selling our traveler's checks, that they all got paid and settled in time, and that the books got resolved and there were no losses. So it was very simple, brief given to me by my boss, who was an MBA, and my immediate reaction was typical MBA guys, they don't understand anything about accounting, and this is really a tall order. How the hell does he think this is going to get fulfilled? But that was, I'm telling you this story because you're going to feel like that for a few weeks as you get into the life insurance business as well. That you think it's a monumental task. When you start applying your mind to it, you'll find the ways and means to make it happen. And I recruited a bunch of people, and I virtually picked up, temporaries, as I call them, who are just summer trainees looking for a job. And we went around and found a computer on Asif Ali Road, the only HCL computer that had been installed in Delhi at that time. And through a series of very innovative measures of capturing all data on computers and developing a matching program,
net, within a week, we had everything, working in terms of restoring customer service levels. And, and within 2 months, we had reconciled all the accounts. Within 3 months, we had put the office back into shape. And people in New York couldn't believe what had happened. And so this worldwide CFO came and met me. He thought, some new guy is fudging the books, and this is just tallied the books. He came down to see us, to see all that had happened. And he was so impressed with what had happened that he gave me my first break in life, and I moved into so-called general management from accounting. At that stage, I actually moved into operations. And I sort of moved into different areas, from operations into risk management, and then into sales, and then into marketing, and so on and so forth. And then became the general manager for American Express in India. Spent some time in that job. I became general manager for American Express in South Asia. I launched the American Express card here. I pretty much relaunched the travel business for American Express, and also Craig is here today. But we'll get a chance to get back at you, don't worry. But the moral of the story here is that you have to be very sensitive to what the customers want, and you've got to find ways and means of delivering value to your customers. And if you really run a quality business, which is what I have always run all my life, there is no shortage of business out there in the marketplace. You take any or the halwai that they have all done very well. So what I would like to encourage all of you to do is to join this quality life insurance business, and you are responsible for doing a lot of this business, and therefore you need to make sure that your sites are on doing everything in a quality manner. And I can promise you that if you do that well, you'll be very, very successful. For Inauguration before this opportunity came up, and this was a truly exciting opportunity. As I told many people in the press meeting today, when I started to reflect on this opportunity, I was amazed at the risk that a chartered accountant like me was carrying in my life, and had protected my family and children against a possible mishap in my life, which would have caused them serious financial grief. And all a very big opportunity. And really it is a huge opportunity. It reminds me of that story, where two people went to 2 different islands to sell shoes, right? And one guy came back and says, "Boss, there's no opportunity there, nobody wears shoes." And the other guy came back and says, "Boss, what a big opportunity, nobody wears shoes." So that's the scene. It all depends how you see it. And I really believe the opportunity is fantastic. It's huge. India is a huge market. In Hong Kong, there are 40 life insurance people who ask for help. But I've got little time for people who just keep talking and do nothing. And I spot them pretty fast, and I take pretty quick action about them. The people, whom I really admire are those who are willing to take a risk, who are willing to become entrepreneurs, who are willing to look outside the box, change the paradigm, and think of a new way of getting there. Those are the people who really catch my imagination, and I've had the fortune of working with many such people. And I tell you something, that talent exists in almost everybody, but it's a question of finding the courage and finding the conviction, and more importantly, finding the motivation to do that. And I urge you all that you won't find another company where you have an environment and a leadership which will encourage you to think outside the box and try and find ways to be very, very successful in the marketplace. We also encourage a lot of feedback.
Which principle do you believe?
Very, very simple. Do a job honestly. Make sure that the customer is king. Yeah, because the customer is the most important person in the whole transaction. Because if it doesn't come to you to do business with you, you are a dead duck, right? So you have to really figure out what the customer wants, and you have to make sure you can deliver to the customer in an honest way what he wants, and maintain your service excellence to a level that nobody else can touch you. If you can just figure this out, I tell you something, you'll never look back. You'll never look back. When I was at American Express, I launched the American Express card in India. It was the only time that American Express issued a card in local currency.
because they only issue hard currency cards. And we offer the card only by invitation in India, which is exactly
of all of you who are doing a very good job in terms of trying to meet the mission of the Chandigarh Geo. Well, everybody's in the race, but I am happy to announce that there are two people actually far ahead and far ahead by miles. But that doesn't mean that people who are left out should take it that okay, they can't meet that, they can't come closer to that. But the fact is that within 20, 21 days or 22 days, these people have done, which really is very difficult to believe that in this short span of time, and from the day one, they have been the leaders. I am really proud of calling these two people, and I know everybody is aware about this. Coming from the commerce background and the poultry business, the strength of Sumir Singh is, as per his words, fact-finding and nothing else. He is a firm believer in fact-finding, and he says that the sales is not complete without fact-finding, and that's the truth, I believe. The goals for which Sumir is working is 1, FYP 8.10 lakhs and sum assured 2.49 crores.
Congratulations.
And I can guarantee you all his chicken haven't hatched.
He's sandbagging till the real show starts.
In fact, now he is believing that okay, he had such kind of contacts, which in the beginning he was not sure that okay, I may be able to encash those relations, but the performance till actually he qualified for MDRT, and in fact, Paul was trying to say that okay, what next to MDRT?
That's only 2 months. If he doesn't
Let me put a challenge for you. This is the MDRT qualifications is based on a country level threshold which has been set by the MDRT, and within that lot of people, I'm hoping that there will be some who will meet what I call the US standard in MDRT. Because if you hit the US standard, which means you're world class, right? Not just tops in India, but world class. And I'm hoping that in the first 18 months of our business in India, we will produce at least a couple of world-class MDRT folks. So we're going to be watching you with great enthusiasm, and as a very special reward for the great work you've done right now, I'll give you a lead on one or two of my personal friends here, so you can get them applause.
Okay, what next? After the flying sick.
Yeah, it's a special mood for me. It's not a joint work. Okay. Basically, friends, I'm Sumit. Most of my batchmates knows me by Sumit, but the second batch, maybe you people, you don't know my name at least. So basically, I was in my family business before coming to this MNYL family. So, I was pretty satisfied, man. But always in my life, I wanted to do something of my own. Maybe I can do something, different from my family assets, from my family things. So coming to MNYL family, now I've started believing myself. I can do something of my own by my hard work. I can prove people, okay, I'm there. So basically, it's the confidence what I'm getting from this company to prove myself, okay, I can achieve heights. And the credit goes to the team. Basically, all my friends here in MNYL, my trainers, my sales manager, not only my sales manager, but other managers also. They have helped me a lot in the last 22 days. So basically, it's the confidence you get, when you work in an organization like MNYL for potential, and I've started doing myself. I'm feeling great about it. So thanks. That's what I want to do. Thank you.
Good luck.
Pleasure. Now I know why yellow is the color of the egg yolk.
So any guesses now? Everybody had clearly said, okay, Milka Singh is Sumaya Singh.
Veena Bhatia.
No, I'm talking about PT Usha. Yes, great. So let's call the PT Usha of the Chandigarh Geo, and that is Mrs. Veena Bhatia. A very down-to-earth housewife who joined a government non-life insurance company before she came into MNYL. She says that her strengths are the contacts she has and the commitment. 1.63 crores. One more thing. I remember the first time when I asked her for the introduction, she said, मुझसे कुछ बोलो मत, कुछ कहने के लिए मत बोलो, मैं आपको काम करके दिखाऊंगी. Today I acknowledge that. Yeah, you have done your job. That's great.
हेलो समीर काफी कुछ बोल गया, समझ नहीं आ रही मैं क्या बोलूं. लेकिन यहाँ तक मैं पहुंची हूँ. सबसे फर्स्ट मिस्टर रजत, मेरे मैनेजर, जितना हो सकता है और स्टेप बाय स्टेप मुझे पूरी गाइडेंस मिली इनसे, और आगे भी 3-4 पॉलिसीज तो मैं इनके साथ ही जाके की है. उसके बाद मुझे कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया कि हाँ मैं कर सकती हूँ. उसके बाद जो मैंने किया है अपने आप ही किया है, और आगे भी हमारी फैमिली को 40 ईयर से ऊपर हो गए चंडीगढ़ में रहते हुए, तो काफ़ी बड़े कॉन्टैक्ट्स हैं और काफ़ी गहरे हैं लोगों के साथ हमारे रिलेशंस. तो उम्मीद है कि आगे बहुत काम मिलेगा. जिससे भी मैं बात करती हूँ, या लकीली शहरी इस मामले में बहुत लकी हूँ कि जिसके पास भी मैं गई हूँ, जितनी भी पॉलिसीज की हैं, जिस घर के अंदर एंटर करी हूँ, पॉलिसी लेके ही निकली हूँ. और आगे भी जिन लोगों से मैंने बात की है, सिर्फ मेरे फोन पे बात हुई है, मैं घर में नहीं गई. वो कहते हैं आओ अपना प्रोडक्ट दिखाओ, हम तैयार हैं. पॉलिसी देख के सोचेंगे कितने की देनी है, लेकिन ये श्योर है कि पॉलिसी मेरी तैयार है. और आगे ज्यादा नहीं कहेंगे, बस करके दिखाएंगे.
Challenge to everybody. These two people have started performing and they are here today. Why not everybody join them, and next time they should also be here. Best of luck to everybody.
Thank you. Back to your drinks, and I think Tajinder's got some surprises for you. The race has just begun. We haven't reached the finishing line, but it's important to spot the early winners as we see it.
We are also on fire.
Absolutely.
Bazen sakızı şişirip şişirip sırtarsız atıyor. Biz böyle mi gördük babamızdan ne gün bizi yoktu. Yeni adet gelmiş eski köye mahpuslarla oldu. Senin gibi fındık kıranları beynimden çıkaran benim püskül belam. Atıyor Yeah.